What's up everybody, this is Danny and today I'm going to be doing an epic camera comparison between the brand new iPhone 16, the Pixel 9 and the Galaxy S24. So I know a lot of people are going to go straight into the pros first, but don't worry, I got you. Not everybody can afford a pro, so we're going to go for the entry level first. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to test these cameras out in every condition, daytime, nighttime, and everything else in between. So let me know what microphone sounds better, let me know what front facing video looks better, and then we're just going to get started and not waste any time because I'm curious to see which one of these are going to be the best this year. Should be interesting. Let's do it. Let's start with the daytime photos. Just like any other flagship smartphone today, it's really hard to get a bad daytime picture. I think the thing to note while looking at these pictures is there's definitely a different approach to all three cameras, and I think this can easily be seen in the sky color replication. The Samsung still has the most vibrant colors, while the iPhone 16 takes the warmer approach and the Pixel 9 is taking the cooler tone on white balance. I would generalize the photo approaches, but it all depends on the scenario. Here, the iPhone boosts up the shadows the most out of the three to brighten up the photo to try and replicate how bright it is outside. But in this one, the Pixel 9 is the one that's cranking up the shadows, so you can see the white balance difference here as well. So let me know which one that you like best. The differences are subtle a lot of the times, like here where the iPhone is more contrasty on the shadows, but also maintains that brightness on the highlights, giving it that contrast. So I think this is definitely going to come down to personal preference because they all take very detailed photos, and I think it will come down to what approach that you like best. In this food picture, the Pixel takes the more muted and flatter approach, while the Samsung has that brighter and more vibrant capture. And sometimes, let's be real, they're all just too similar. Like this one, it's really hard to tell the difference, but in this shot of the carne asada, you can see the color difference well on the meat itself. I think the S24 does the best in balancing the entire scene, maintaining the accurate plate color along with the food, while the warmer approach on the iPhone brings in a red tint. So here's my thing with this. Here's something to think about. With all the customizations that you can do with variations in colors, does this even matter to you? With Google having AI leverage with a huge suite of editing tools, and with the white balance controls directly on the camera app, you can change a lot of this. With Samsung, you can turn off the scene optimizer and even go into the camera assistant and turn down the sharpening, and also access a ton of AI editing tools and create your own filters and presets as well. But Apple this year took their photographic styles and took them up a notch by adding a skin undertone layer to the adjustment, so you can dial in the look that you want, and you can even pick between a ton of photo emulations that are called moods to change up your photo. And what's great is you don't even have to worry about setting it, because you can do all of this after you take the picture and apply that setting to a group of photos that you took. So this is cool. But if we are talking about the skin tones with default settings, then they all look very similar in this scenario. The Pixel still with that 1.5x crop in portrait mode, which I don't love. With portrait mode, I do love that the S24 has a dedicated 3x camera, so you get that great focal length, where the other two are limited to 2x. In this picture of me, I think the iPhone does the best on the skin tone in this scenario. The Pixel looks great, but it's a little too bright, while the Samsung is oversaturating my skin. You can see this better on the 2x crop. My skin looks magazine ready with the Pixel with that computational magic already applied. iPhone again with the best rendition, and the contrast is too heavy on the S24. The 3x though, again, great focal length for portraits, which I wish these other phones too had, but it is what it is. I think that little extra bit of reach can make for some more creative shots like this one, but it's not a deal breaker whatsoever. The Google Pixel can sometimes go crazy with the red or magenta tone like you see here, but for the most part, I would say that the iPhone this time around is capturing the most true to life colors, especially with this red Stormtrooper. It's way too vibrant on the S24 and a cool tone of red on the Pixel, but it's not accurate. Okay, so let's get to what separates these cameras, and zoom is one of them. You can see on the 2x just how much more vibrant the Galaxy S24 is compared to the other two, so let me know if you like that or not. Again, there's that 3x optical on the S24, so you have that choice, but let's jump into the digital zoom. The Pixel 9 has 8 times maximum zoom, which doesn't look bad at all. The iPhone 16 has 10 times digital zoom, which looks decent as well, but the S24's 10x is just much better. You can just see how clear the text is. You even get a 20x zoom here as well, and on the next step up, a 30 times maximum zoom. So if you're looking for an entry-level flagship phone with the most zoom, then the Galaxy S24 is going to be the way to go. I know that zoom isn't important to everyone, but it's nice that you can go up to 30 times on the base Galaxy S24. They all have 12 megapixel ultrawide cameras, and besides the processing, I don't see a major difference in quality. They all look solid during the day, so let me know if you see a clear difference. The iPhone 16 again boosting up the shadows to brighten up the Uniqlo building, and the S24 is clipped here in the clouds where the sun is peeping through, while the Pixel keeps it all one tone in exposure. This is the one ultrawide shot where I saw a clear difference. Usually the iPhone always has the worst performance when it comes to exposure and clipping on the ultrawide, but here nailed the dynamic range, so this is great to see. One more category before moving on to video, and that is the high resolution capture. The iPhone 16 this year gets the same 48 megapixel fusion camera from last year's Pro model, so you get a ton of detail. The S24 has a 50 megapixel mode, but the base Pixel 9 does not get a high resolution mode, so that's only on the Pro model, so that's a bummer. The 50 megapixel during the day is legit on the S24, so I don't think you'll be disappointed, but you can see that the iPhone 16 is performing slightly better here, and you can see it on the Planet Hollywood sign and the observatory lettering above it when you punch in. While the difference isn't huge on this example without punching in, when you zoom in, you can see a clear difference on the wing and the Florida certified lettering. This is an example where I saw the clear difference. You can see the texture and detail of the plants on the outside of the Coca-Cola building. Punching into an impressive 1000% scale, you can see just how much the iPhone keeps the plants intact, even zooming in this far, so that is definitely impressive for 48 megapixels. So during the day, I think you'll have to look at these and choose the type of processing that you like best. They are all sharp and create great photos during the day, so you just have to pick and choose which features are more important to you, like the front-facing camera, for example. I wish the Pixel 9 had the wider front-facing camera of the Pixel 9 Pro. It's just not as good. It's picking up a lot of yellow tones here, and I actually think that the iPhone keeps my tone the best without over-sharpening my face like the Samsung does. I think it'll all just depend on your skin tone because this can vary from person to person. Okay, so let's jump to video. The Galaxy S24 is the only one out of the 3 base level flagships that features 8K video, which is fantastic. The great thing about all 3 of these is the daytime video looks great, so I don't think you'll be disappointed in any of these with casual video, but let's punch in heavy to inspect the video quality, and you can see that the Pixel 9 is the noisiest with the muddiest details, while the S24 is retaining the most detail, which makes sense because this is an 8K resolution, but the iPhone is holding up extremely well considering this is 4K. The 4K video across all 3 look fantastic, more contrasty and vibrant on the S24, like the photos, Pixel towards the cooler tones, and the iPhone warmer, but the iPhone has the clearest video and it's less sharpened than the S24 video, and I'm still calling the iPhone the best video out of the 3, even though that the competition is getting closer now. When it comes to maximum zoom on the video, the Pixel has 7 times and it looks the worst for sure. The iPhone has 6 times maximum zoom and it looks pretty solid, definitely usable video in a pinch, but the S24 has the most zoom with 12 times, so again, Samsung with the biggest zoom on videos and photos. When it comes to the walking stabilization, they all do a great job of keeping the video stable. I think on day-to-day use, I don't think you'll notice a huge difference during the day, so let me know which one that you think is doing a better job here while I'm walking through Disney Springs. Alright, so let's jump into the nighttime photos. What's great is this year there isn't a huge striking difference between the 3 devices. They all do a great job with night mode of brightening up the scene and adding in a lot of detail. So here are a few examples. Here is the picture without night mode. And then here is the picture with night mode. Not a drastic change in this one. It is super dark here and they all do a great job of capturing the scene, but here's a shot with night mode on and they all turned it basically into daytime, but the iPhone getting the brightest image here. This one is probably the most dramatic without night mode, and you can just see how dark it is. The Pixel 9 actually captured it the best. And boom, night mode is crazy, but again, I'm liking the Pixel and Samsung on this one. The iPhone's just a little too bright for me. Another one without night mode of the Japan Pavilion here at Epcot. And here it is with night mode, and all 3 with totally different tones and renditions of the scene. None of them were accurate, so you have to pick which one that you like better. The full moon was absolutely wild. This was the night of the partial lunar eclipse, which I missed later that night, but wow, what a view with the 2x on all of these cameras. But when the moon is this big, you know I had to take a picture 30 times on the S24, and the other 2 did much better than I thought, and the iPhone almost got it, so I gotta try this on the Pro. If I had to nitpick about the Pixel 9 at night, it is the noisiest out of the bunch because it tends to overexpose the image and the sky often, like this ultra-wide shot. It doesn't happen on every shot, but it tends to happen more with the ultra-wide like you see here, but again, you might like this, but the iPhone is the most accurate to the scene while the S24 is the middle ground. But it also happens with the main sensor too, so I hope Google can tune this for a future software update. It's not just the clouds, but it's the funky greenish yellow tones that it can introduce to the sky as well, as you can see here clearly. Let's jump into a zoom test with the 2x, and you can see that the Pixel is also the noisiest picture. Here's the max zoom for all 3 phones, and the Pixel 9 just looks so overprocessed on 8x. The 10x on the iPhone 16 is softer and noisy, but it is the least processed. And the S24 is the clearest for sure, so it wins here, but it's definitely over-sharpened. Now, I love this picture. All 3 do a great job, but the S24 had the best balance on the structure itself, but the tone overall, I would pick the Pixel or the iPhone minus the funky clouds over here again on the Google side. But basically, I'm nitpicking subtle differences like overall color tone. Look at the purple purplish clouds here on the iPhone, yellowish greenish on the Pixel, and a mixture on the Samsung. They will go back and forth. It is more detailed on the Pixel because it triggered night mode where it did not on the iPhone. The Samsung does the same thing here where it doesn't trigger night mode, so it remains dark, and the Pixel doesn't do that. It actually triggers night mode almost every time. The Pixel 9 absolutely nailed it here for the perfect balance of color, night sky, and exposure, so again, they are all capable. All of these cameras handle shadows differently, as you can see here, so let me know which approach that you like better in the comments below. The iPhone 16's ultra-wide had the best capture here with the most detail. You can see on the walls, this Morocco pavilion is still one of my favorites to photograph. It looks so good. Normally I can point out a lot more differences, but really this year, besides noise, it's really about the color replication, so look how different that looks between the three, but I really like the iPhones better in this scenario. With the 2x crop, the S24 looks really solid too. I love this shot with the moon behind it. Not a fan of the Pixel 9's night sky here. Surprisingly, with the skin tones, I didn't see a huge variance like I normally do. Lots of red around the environment here with harsh lighting, so they all picked that up well. With portrait mode activated, the S24 brightens up the skin, so if you like that, the S24 will be the one for you. This one is a great example. The S24 brightens up my wife too much where it's not accurate to the scene, but tries to retain skin tone, which is nice. But the iPhone is a good in-between where the Pixel is too saturated and red on my wife's skin. The iPhone 16 also nails this photo of me with the right white balance on my shirt with the best skin tone and best background contrast. The S24 picking up a lot of that red again, and the Pixel somewhere in between. The front-facing camera though, the iPhone is definitely boosting up the shadows and brightens the skin, as you can see, so let me know if you like that or dislike that. You can see that in this one too with the iPhone, but it picks up a lot of red from the environment, so it's on the skin tone where the Pixel 9 has the best balance overall, so that is my pick, but the S24 is more Instagram ready. Here I couldn't get portrait night mode to trigger from the front facing camera on the iPhone 16, so not sure what happened. The other two just fine with night mode under portrait mode. The Samsung is super sharp here with this one, so it's going to come down to personal preference with low light shots, but what about the video? Well, let's start with the walking stabilization. Just like the Pixel 9 Pro series, I did notice that the bounces are more pronounced at night, so you can see more of that jelly effect from the impact of me walking. If you look though, the video is clear on the Pixel 9, so Google has something here, but they definitely need to work on stabilization and noise reduction. You can also see some of that on the S24 as well, but the iPhone is staying pretty stable here and has the steadiest video in this nighttime scenario, so I think this is the first clear win of the video. This is a difficult scene because there's so much going on, but I think the iPhone still has the better video overall between the three. Let me explain. The purple flaring is crazy on the S24 by the torch, so it is super noticeable, but we cannot deny the clarity of the Pixel 9 video. It is insane, but the noise is definitely worse. I think if Google can get the noise under control, it could have the best nighttime video on a smartphone, but you can clearly see that the iPhone and Pixel have the worst light reflections in the camera with the green orbs. Now, this is the S24 with 8K video and is by far the noisiest and worst looking video out of the three, so Samsung definitely needs to work on this on the S25 lineup. Now, I'm just not going to say things without backing it up. What makes me so critical about the Pixel video at night is the stuttering. The frame drops are super noticeable when it gets really dark, and what's funny is as soon as there's more light, you can actually see it smoothing out, but when it gets dark again, you'll see it dropping frames. So I didn't notice this on the Pixel 9 Pro XL video, but I'll have to test it again in this exact environment at Spaceship Earth, so I'll do that soon. Stay tuned. So that about does it. I missed a few things like macro mode, but know that the Galaxy S24 does not have macro mode while the other two do. But I think in the end, all are great base model flagship phones. I think the iPhone 16 really pulls its weight this year with the 48 megapixel fusion sensor, but the Pixel and Samsung also do well in their own perspectives too, especially with the S24 and its 30 times zoom. So if I had to choose out of the three and I only could carry one, I would probably pick the iPhone 16, but let me know if you agree or disagree. Stay tuned for my pro camera comparisons with Google, Apple, and Samsung, so that should be fun. Thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and subscribe for more, and I'll see you in the next one.